Hey friends, welcome back to the Sublimation Beginner series. This is video 2, the Sublimation Essentials. If you've ever looked at sublimation and thought, where do I even begin? I promise you are not alone. That's exactly why I'm here. I'm keeping it simple, breaking it down piece by piece so that everything finally starts to make sense. Let's just jump in together. A simple reminder before we get started, all of the resources talked about in any of these videos will be listed down in the description box for you to easily click and find. This whole series pairs well with my book, the Sublimation Playbook. Each video is like a visual chapter, simple, real, and made to learn without feeling overwhelmed. Today's video gives you a quick overview of the 4 key essentials: your printer, paper, ink, and heat press. To keep these short and easy to digest, I'll go deeper into each one of these in the upcoming weeks, so you can learn at your own pace, one piece at a time. My word, when you are first getting started, everybody has a recommendation. It's like this printer, this paper, this ink, that press. It is nonstop. And it's easy to feel like you need it all just to begin. But here's the truth. You really don't. You just need the basics that actually make sublimation work. Your printer, that's where your design comes to life. Your paper, it's what holds and releases your ink cleanly under heat. Your ink, the color that turns into a gas and bonds permanently to your blank. And of course, your heat press, the tool that seals it all together. That's it. These are the 4 things that matter most. And once you understand how to use them, you can stop overthinking the gear and start focusing on creating. So when it comes to sublimation, this is where everything begins. Your printer. It's what turns your digital design into something you can actually press. Now, there are 2 main routes most creators take. You can go with the converted printer, which is a regular inkjet printer switched over to use sublimation ink only. Or you can go with the commercial printer, which is made specifically for sublimation from the start. Each one works, it just depends on your goals, your budget, and how often you plan to print. Let's start with the converted printer. This is the route that I personally went, and honestly, I love it. I used an Epson 2720 EcoTank printer for nearly 5 years, and it handled everything I needed while I learned and grew. The EcoTanks are popular for so many reasons. They're budget friendly, easy to find locally, and the refillable tanks make the process so simple. Most converted printers fall somewhere between $200 and $400, which makes them a great entry point if you're just getting started. I even found creative ways to print larger designs with mine. We'll talk about that for a later time, but there's not too many limitations here. Converted printers are perfect for small projects, testing new designs, and learning the process without a big upfront investment. The trade-offs are, you're going to lose your warranty once it is converted, it can clog if it sits too long, and color accuracy takes a little tweaking, but it's definitely not impossible. If you're wanting to start simple, stay on budget, and grow at your own pace, this setup is an amazing place to begin. Now, if you're ready to move into a more professional setup, let's talk about commercial sublimation printers. These printers are built specifically for sublimation. That means there's no converting, no tinkering, just plug in, load your ink, and print. They're made for speed, color consistency, and high volume projects, which is why a lot of small business owners end up going this route. Popular models include options like Sawgrass SG500 or SG1000, but there are also Epson models in the F series that are great for production. The biggest advantage is that they come ready to go, with built-in color management and support that actually covers sublimation use. Of course, they come at a higher cost. Most commercial printers range from around $600 up to $1,500 or more, depending on the size and features. So if you're printing regularly or selling your work, this kind of printer is worth considering. But not because it's better, just because it's actually built for the workflow. When it comes down to it, there is no single right printer. It's really about finding what fits you and where you're at right now. If you're just starting out, still learning, or printing for fun, a converted printer is probably your best fit. It's affordable, flexible, and gives you space to make mistakes and learn. But if you're printing every day, running a shop, or want consistency without all the tweaking, a commercial printer might be a better match. It's built for volume and color accuracy, and it saves time once you're printing on a regular basis. No matter which route you choose, what matters most is you learn your setup, get comfortable with it, and build from there. Because at the end of the day, it's not the printer that makes great work, it's the creator using it. Alright, now that we've covered sublimation printers, let's talk about the second key piece, your sublimation paper. This is the foundation of every clean, vibrant, and accurate transfer. And while it might not seem like the most exciting supply, it's one of the more important. So sublimation paper is not your regular copy paper, even though it does totally look like it. It's got this special coating that basically holds your ink into place until the heat hits it. Once you press it, the coating releases the ink evenly onto the blank, and that's what gives you those bold colors and smooth, pro-looking results. Which is why copy paper really just doesn't cut it. It will absorb your ink instead of releasing it, and your design ends up looking really dull and kind of blurry. This little detail right here, it's actually what separates a good print from a great one. When you press your sublimation print, the heat and pressure work together to turn your sublimation ink into a gas. The coating on your sublimation paper holds that gas in place just long enough for it to transfer. Then, as the ink turns to gas, it releases and absorbs directly into your polyester coating on your blank. That's why sublimation isn't sitting on top of your project like vinyl. It's actually inside of the surface. That's also what makes it so durable. It won't peel, crack, or even fade over time. And one small but super important step, always make sure you print your design mirrored. Since it goes face down on your blank, this ensures your image looks the right way after you press it. Trust me, every creator has learned that one the hard way. Maybe not even just once. For me, it's almost like one time every project. Maybe I should just tell you to put like a little sticky note on your printer. It definitely comes in handy as a beginner. Okay, so when it comes to choosing a sublimation paper, this is where so many beginners get stuck. They scroll through the endless recommendations trying to figure out which is the best match, but here's the truth. You don't need to overthink it. I have tried plenty of brands over the years, and I still gravitate towards whatever's on sale. Most sublimation paper performs almost the same, as long as it's a true sublimation paper. If you want a safe starting point, a sub is a great option. Reliable, easy to find, and very affordable. But what really matters is learning how your printer, paper, and ink all work together. That's what builds consistency and confidence over the years. We're going to dive deeper into paper weights, finishes, and pro-level choices soon, but for now, keep it simple. Pick a good paper, start pressing, and learn by doing. Now that we've talked about paper, let's move into what gives your designs their color, the ink. Sublimation ink is what actually transfers your design, turning it into a gas under heat and bonding permanently to your blank. It's the heart of every print you'll make, the color behind every creation. When it comes to sublimation ink, it's pretty simple once you understand how it works. Every printer, no matter the brand, uses the same 4 colors: cayenne, magenta, yellow, and black, or what you'll often hear called CMYK. These 4 colors mix together to create every shade in your design. Every bright pink, deep navy, or neutral tone all come together from these basics. Now, here's where sublimation is a little different. It does not use any white ink. So anything white in your design is not printed at all. It comes from the blank that you're pressing it on. Or if it seems white on the paper, it's just the paper showing through. In turn, if your blank is white, then that becomes your white ink or your base color. If your blank is light gray or tan, then that becomes your base color or your white ink. So it does vary and it will change your design. We'll dive deeper into this later on, especially how blank colors and materials can completely change how your project looks. But for now, just know this is totally normal and something every creator learns to work with over time. This video is all about understanding the basics first, so you can grow with confidence. And before we move on, here is one quick beginner's tip. If you're using a converted printer, the ink that comes with it is not sublimation ink. Make sure you only use sublimation ink. That's a little step that will save you a big headache later on. Now that we've talked about the ink itself, let's talk about how you actually get it into your printer. You'll usually see 2 types of bottles when you're shopping for sublimation ink: adaptable bottles and manual refill bottles. Adaptable bottles are made to fit directly onto EcoTank styled printers. You just flip the bottle upside down, let it click into place, and it automatically fills. They're quick, clean, and beginner friendly. Perfect if you don't want to deal with syringes or funnels. Manual refill bottles are the kind that you pour or inkjet into your tank yourself, usually using a small syringe. They're a little messier and take more patience, but they work great, and sometimes they're even the cheaper option. Honestly, both styles work the same at the end of the day. It just depends on what kind of printer you have and what feels easiest to you. I personally have always used Hiipoo ink, which comes in the adaptable bottles, and let me tell you, they are a game changer. I've been doing this long before those bottles existed, and when I say they make refilling so much easier, I really swear by that. And finally, to wrap this all up, it is time to talk about one of the most important pieces, your heat press. We actually talked about this a bit more in our first video, but I want to touch on why this is such an important piece here too. Your press is what controls the heat, time, and pressure. And those three things decide how clean and vibrant your transfer turns out. When those aren't balanced, that's when you'll see things like ghosting, those faint double images, or scorching, where the design looks a little yellowish or burnt around the edges. A steady, even press prevents all of that, giving you these bright colors and sharp results that actually last. We'll do a full deep dive in the upcoming weeks to help you figure out which press might be best for you, but for now, just remember, this is where all of your hard work finally comes to life. When it comes to heat presses, there are two main types you'll see for sublimation: manual clamshell presses and automatic presses. Both do get the job done, but they work a little differently and fit different needs. A clamshell press opens from the top, like a hinge. These are super common and great for beginners because they are beginner friendly, budget friendly, and easy to find. Plus, they don't take up much space. I use a 15 by 15 clamshell, which I think is the perfect all-around size for shirts, totes, and just about everything else. The only real challenge is even pressure. Since it closes at an angle, it can press one side harder than any others, especially on things that are thicker like hoodies. But once you get a feel for it, you'll learn how to adjust and make things work like a pro. Then there's the auto press, which pretty much does the heavy lifting for you. It locks, applies pressure, and releases automatically, giving you consistent results every time. The HTV Ront Auto Press is a great example, and their second version even lets you adjust the pressure manually, which is a huge plus. They do cost a bit more and are somewhat heavier, but the time and effort that they save make them worth considering, especially if you're pressing often or running a small business. Honestly, I used both depending on what I'm working on. There's no one press fits all. It really comes down to your budget, your space, and how often you're creating. So today we went over the 4 main things that you actually need to start sublimating. My hope is that this gives you a little more clarity and confidence to start creating. Everything I mentioned, from the products that I personally use to extra learning resources, is linked down below. They're all free, and they'll save you a ton of time and frustration when you're getting your setup started. I'd love to know what helped you most today and what still feels a little confusing. Drop it in the comments and I'll do my best to cover it in the upcoming videos, because if you're wondering about it, odds are someone else is too. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. We're diving deeper into ink and paper and how they work together to get those bright, clean, professional results. You can also join the email list for early access to resources. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. I'm really excited to see where your creative journey goes from here, and I'll see you in the next one.